Recently, a lot of analytics programs have cropped up in the market, especially by IIMs. How is this program unique compared to all these programs?
Because it combines the expertise of two institutions. So we have TAPMI on one side and we have MSIS on the other side. MSIS is expertise when it comes to delivering technical programs, and TAPMI's expertise when it comes to delivering management programs.
We've had alumni dating back to 1999, 2000, who are leaders in the industry now. They are senior product managers, directors.
Among these industries, what are the type of roles we can look at? It could be anything like an AI product manager, an AI and an ML architect, a data scientist.
Guys, I am in TAPMI Manipal. This is the second time I'm coming to this beautiful campus in Manipal at this time of the year when I think the city is the most beautiful in December. And TAPMI has once again launched a new course. If you remember, last time we did a video with faculty members who were the architects of the MBA in Technology Management, which is now 6 months old. It was around the same time when I interviewed the faculty members for that course. The juncture was kind of similar, for which you are watching this video. So this video is about MBA in Artificial Intelligence and Data Science, AI and DS. This is a new program which TAPMI is launching with MSIS. We'll talk about what it is and we'll talk a lot about this program. We all know that artificial intelligence is a very emerging field. There are people who want to study artificial intelligence. There are people who want to know what exactly is artificial intelligence, how is it above and beyond machine learning or analytics. There are a lot of roles which are being evolved, to be AI roles. There are roles in AI in operations, AI in marketing, AI in HR, AI in everything, just like analytics was at one point of time. So I think there is good demand for this program, but we'll listen to answers to all of these questions. So thank you, sir, for being part of this interview. We have Sudarshan sir. Hello. He was with MSIS and he'll be one of the faculty members for this course. And we have Gurudat sir. He actually heads placements for TAPMI Manipal, but we're going to ask a lot of other questions as well. So sir, my first question is that TAPMI has a lot of programs now. What prompted you all to launch this program with MSIS, and what is MSIS if people can know about that?
Okay, I'll just go first. If you actually look at management, technically this program is called MBA in Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. If you look at MBA or management as a whole, it's apparently what we call as social science. Primarily because there's an element of art that comes into it. But in recent times, you've seen that there's a good amount of data that is available. And somewhere down the line, whenever we look at managers today, they're supposed to take decisions, but the decisions are also supposed to be data driven. Absolutely. You just compare it across decision making a few years back. For example, you take selling. Selling is a classic instance which was earlier called as an art. People used to say that he has an art to sell things. But today it is highly data driven. And managers today are expected to primarily look at using tools, techniques, analysis on the data that is available, primarily to ensure that they make more informed decisions. This also gives us a sense that management is now moving more towards being a scientific process, or it's more towards the scientific side of it than the art side of it, which gives us an essence that the students year on are supposed to use a lot of data. That was one primary reason why we thought let's look into this space. The second thing is, when being a person who handles corporate engagement as well as placements, whenever we connect with our recruiters, one of the most common things that have come in is the buzzword now, that is AI. And the corporate partners also expect students to come out with a lot of skills, or at least some skills which sort of help them to enter into this AI space or work in this AI domain. So TAPMI has always been a B school which is always aligned with what is needed in the industry. Being our fundamental thought process, we said that if this is what the corporates need, why don't we actually look at it as a potential option for students to take. Now, interfacing a particular program or particular component of a program, will we make enough justice to it in our existing program, or should we look at coming out with a proper, well-defined, specific program on AI and data science? That's how TAPMI actually said that yes, this is something that we can look into and align with MSIS to come out with this program on AI and data science, which is specifically curated to ensure that these requirements of the corporate partners and the industry is taken care of.
So you talked a lot about data in your answer, and rightly so, because it's the need of the market. But recently, a lot of analytics programs have cropped up in the market, especially by IIMs. But none that I've heard of in artificial intelligence and data science. So how is this program unique compared to all these programs?
Couple of things. Interestingly, this is one unique program, I would say, because it combines the expertise of two institutions. So we have TAPMI on one side and we have MSIS on the other side. Now, how does this come along? Even if you look at a lot of management institutes, whenever they look at introducing a program, for example, a program like AI and DS itself, it has two components in it. There's a technical component and there's a management component. So either the management institutes look at bringing in the technical expertise or developing it, or then the technology institutes or the technical institutes look at bringing in the management dimensions.
Sure.
Now here what we have done is we've actually looked at merging the strengths of two organizations. That's one. Apparently, which means if you say 2 plus 2 is 4, we're now saying that 2 plus 2 is 6.
Yeah.
Apparently adding much more than what we are talking about. That is one. The second is coupled with MSIS's expertise when it comes to delivering technical programs and TAPMI's expertise when it comes to delivering management programs. This particular program has a lot of blend in terms of industry requirements. For example, they have got two concurrently running projects. In addition to this, across a 2-year program, they have a project that will go on, or the main project that goes on for 6 months. And this idea is actually taken from MSIS, who has a fantastic MTech program, where they have an internship of 1 year, which apparently you would say is quite industry accepted.
1 year internship?
Yes. On similar lines, we said that this program has to be more hands-on, and hence we have brought in a component of 6 months. Again, in the form of an internship which the students have to go through.
Okay.
Apparently, which means you would say in a way around 25% of their time would actually be on this internship project.
In fact, if you account for holidays, more than 25%.
Exactly.
So Darshan sir, I want to ask you, because you're part of MSIS.
Yeah.
Normally, when MBA programs are launched, new programs, initially the first year is our general MBA subjects, because normally a lot of engineers take up the MBA program.
Right.
And the crux of the program, if it's analytics or anything else, that's a little bit of the whole course.
Yeah.
How will the case be with AI in data science?
Yeah. So we are drawing on our expertise and our long experience at the Manipal School of Information Sciences. The institute has been running since 1998. And we have had extensive experience with the ME programs on the hardware side, such as embedded systems, VLI design, and on the software side, such as medical software. And then over the years, we were pioneering these ME programs as per the industry needs. So for example, we started our own ME in artificial intelligence and a machine learning program, a focused technology program, master's program, in 2020, and we've been running it successfully since then. And we also have programs on cloud computing, cybersecurity, microelectronics, and VLSI technology. So ours is an interdisciplinary institute, primarily catering to excellence in technical education at the master's level for students from an engineering background.
So faculty members from MSIS will come and be the faculty members for this, the same faculty members?
Yes, so we are drawing from that pool of expertise. And we have, from our experience since 2020, for the AA and ML program, and from our institute's experience since 1998, one thing that sort of identifies our institute is our ability to adapt to the needs of the industry. So we are in close touch with the industry, and we get feedback from our alumni, and we also get feedback from our industry partners for the programs. And we redesign our curriculum, which is very practice-oriented. And this is something that is in our bloodstream, so to speak. And in that sense, we are drawing on that expertise and dovetailing into TAPMI's expertise. So there's this beautiful synergy that's happening. As you mentioned, there are programs that tend to be focused heavily on management subjects and a little bit on analytics. But what we have done here is, across the 4 terms, these are trimesters, we have courses that are preparatory on the machine learning and AI side, data science side, as well as from the management side. And we have designed it in such a way that there is a synergy between these courses. And also in the 2nd term and in the 3rd term, they have this concurrently running project that the students will work on, where we will have them work on case studies that will depend on what they are learning as part of their coursework.
This will be very like practical.
Yeah, it will be hands-on and practice-oriented, and that is where our expertise will play an important role. And we have done this. Our courses in our master's program, they have a lab component for all the courses. So our students work on problems in practice. They have to code, they have to look at scenarios. And we hope to bring that expertise into the management side. And I think this will be a fresh offering to students who are looking for a change in the kind of MBA program that they want to do.
From your answer, I can gauge the element of qualitative AI and data science subjects or matter that this course will have. But then my counter question this will be, what is the admission criteria? Are you looking at specific number of months of work-ex for this course? And then if you are, then are you looking at a particular segment, sector? And if you are looking at a particular sector, then, or if you're not looking for a particular sector, then how can someone, suppose you're someone who has work-ex in AI, he's competing with someone who does not have work-ex in technology or AI, but is passionate about technology and AI. How can he compete with this guy? Whoever of you want to take this.
Couple of things. I think one of the basic thought processes that came in terms of what type of candidates do we need for this program. There's been a specific input that has been received which says that we are looking at people with at least 2 to 3 years of work experience. Now, why we are looking at people with 2 to 3 years of work experience? Primarily because whenever we look at data science, primarily since AI and DS works more in terms of handling data and interpreting from data, data can come from multiple sources. It can come from the HR domain, or it can come from the warehouse, it can come from stores, it can cross an organization. Ideally, we are looking at candidates who understand how an organization functions so that that gap is effectively bridged. That sort of brings in a dimension that it would be better if we have candidates who come with some work experience. Yes, the question is whether we are looking at somebody who comes with already an AI-based work-ex, or probably somebody who comes with a work experience, but then probably how does a person match on with this individual? Few observations if I can share. Whenever you look at a management program, people come from diverse backgrounds. Even if you look at TAPMI itself, we get, when we talk about people who come with work experience, the people who come with work experience in the engineering stream. Within engineering, they come with work experience in a process industry, a product industry, an IT industry, a chemical industry for that matter. But ultimately, all of these people, when they finally probably pick up the major and the minor that we look at, somebody who is a mechanical engineer may take sales as a major, marketing as a major,
which is very different in terms of attitude.
Exactly. So apparently the experience here primarily is being looked at in terms of setting up a basic expectation. Whether a person comes with an AI background technically still doesn't give that person too much of edge, because probably with a 2-year work-ex in an organization that has already been AI just gives him some basic understanding, but it is again from the technology side. When it comes to management side, it still is probably starting from the point zero.
True.
So irrespective of whether the person comes with an AI experience in the AI field or not, an experience is always preferred. That's how we put it. But that said, there could always be a counter thought process saying that, are we not going to look at freshers? That's also another question that is likely to be raised. So let me just sort of take it up here. Even if you look at our experience in taking students in all our other programs, we've got a mix of students who come with almost 50 to 55% of work experience, and close to around 45 to 50% of students who come with freshers, who are freshers, who do not come with any work experience. But if you just sit back and see, there are a lot of instances where you have seen students without work ex, in fact, performing or outperforming the ones who come with work experience. So we are looking at those students who come with Spark, even if they don't come with a work ex. The Spark is apparently, are they able to align with this program? That's one. We may also have a possibility where we may look at evaluating their data aptitude, evaluating them so that we also see whether they're a right fit for the program.
How will you do that?
Probably that's on the cards at this point in time. Work out a specific evaluative component which may give them a basic data set and look at how they are able to interpret data.
In the GD process?
We will have to look into it because the admissions process is more generic. The usual process is where students apply, then we look at the students who make the shortlist, and these are based on certain shortlisting criteria like the entrance exam scores, probably the work experience dimensions and so on, and then we have the group discussion and the personal interview component.
Sure.
Now what TAPMI has so far done is across all its programs, whether it is the MBA in banking and financial services, when we have a candidate who applies for a program on BKFS, we have certain specific components. Could be in the form of a situation-based question, or probably a quick response in terms of certain dimensions that align with that program. So the interview process becomes a bit different when it comes to a specific program. We are almost in the verge of fine-tuning the process, so there would most likely be a data aptitude component. We now need to see how we incorporate it. Putting it in the group discussion process may not happen, primarily because that would involve candidates across programs. But when it comes to a personal interview, that would probably have a component that may focus on the data aptitude.
Cool. You've answered all the questions that I wanted to ask about admission. So I'll now come to basically, and you also answered a lot of things about the industry exposure that people would get in the program. But if we talk about the roles that people may get from this program, or people may aspire to get into, are there specific roles in mind? I know this is a placement related question, so it's a little far-fetched, but sir, you will head placements, and I'm sure, I think you might take responsibility for the placements of this program as well, and this is why people invest so much of money in MBA courses as well. So would you like to speak something on this event?
If you actually look at this program and the possible career choices that students can have, we can broadly put it across three domains. The first is corporates. When we talk about corporates, it can be financial institutions, it can be consulting firms, FMCGs, ITS. You probably name the type of organization that you can look at, even logistics for that matter. Because all of these firms primarily work heavily on data. Right, that's one. The second aspect could be in terms of research organizations. Now, research organizations could be market research companies, or probably certain organizations which work heavily on data. Could be anything like IMRB or Nielsen, for that matter.
Or analytics companies.
Exactly.
Like
so could be Tiger Analytics, or maybe for that matter, Mu Sigma. So a lot of companies which work heavily into data and which probably do a lot of market research also. The third, why not a B school?
Okay.
Probably come back to a B school and contribute back to the society.
True.
We are looking at even potential, career choices in that. We've seen in certain cases, people go, they join the industry for a couple of years and then probably come back and say, I would probably be better off as an instructor or probably a faculty. Pursue a PhD, maybe in the same domain, and then probably contribute in a much more different way. These are when we look at it from an industry specific dimension. If we are looking at pinpointing roles, that is among these industries, what are the type of roles we can look at? It could be anything like an AI product manager, or it could be an AI and an ML architect.
AI product manager.
Yeah, that's something that's now gaining in a lot. A data scientist that you can look at.
It's called the, by the way, I'm sure if you do not know, data scientist is called the profession of the century by Harvard Business Review.
Exactly.
So
and that's actually picking up a lot in these days. It apparently goes back to the same reference I made earlier. The amount of data that is now available, I think you now need people to sort of make sense of that data. You could also have a market research analyst role. You could probably have somebody who's a data consultant.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interestingly, if you look at cloud computing nowadays, we used to have different models called PWS, IWS, SWS. That's infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Now there's something called data as a service. So apparently a data consultant comes into that domain. So these are, I would say, a few, not the only set of roles, but something that could actually be explored as a potential career in the future.
Absolutely. Now that you talked about roles, is the number of students that you're targeting for the first batch decided? If you want to speak about that.
I believe usually TAPMI has got a process where we start with the least batch size. So we normally start with a batch size of around 30 students. And once the program gains traction, then we look at getting into the usual batch size of around 60.
I think it'll not be tough, and you would know to place these number of students in such a hotshot profile, AI and data science. Last question, TAPMI, you said that MSIS has been in existence since 1998. Could you talk about how many maybe alumni are there out in the market? And my next question is, you would be probably also be in touch with TAPMI's alumni because you're part of placements process at TAPMI, and I think TAPMI has been in existence since 1980s. So 40 years here, and I think more than 20 years here, around 25 years here. How do you plan to leverage this alumni strength for your placements? Of course, you only 30 students that talked about roles, but do you have any plans for that as well at this stage of?
Totally. Alumni is our core strength, and our program, the design and the upgradation happens consistently with support from our alumni. And we've had alumni dating back to 1999, 2000, who are leaders in the industry now. They are leaders in the technology industry.
Could you talk about, I'm generally aware of alumni's progression after the MBA program. But I'm not aware of progression after
an ME.
MSIS. So what are they doing now? Because people might go and take up that route as well if they want to.
So our students who graduated way back in the early 2000s, they are senior leaders across the technical industry spectrum.
Can you talk a few roles? Maybe?
So for example, we have senior product managers. And we also have directors, people who have graduated to that level, but they all started at a very core technical role. And but their progression has been through a technical side. So for example, project managers and so on and so forth. But then they later pivot towards more towards a managerial side. So they are directors and senior leaders. Mainly in the technical side.
And now the question, these are the people who will help, of course, in alumni support. How do you plan to do that?
Sure. And we also have students who have recently graduated, because I think what's important is that the recent crop of graduates, they are the ones who are exposed to the industry. And some of them are thriving. Even though they are in the early career roles, they have positioned themselves as sort of the key architects of an AI thought process in their companies. So in that sense, we get inputs from them as to what kind of requirements that companies have. For example, one example that I can immediately come across with is building custom chatbots. Now, while this may sound very generic, right? So building chatbots is sort of the rage now. Everybody wants to build that. But the key here is to build something that is custom.
This is a job profile, or this is
one of not a job profile.
It's a project.
It's a very important component of let's say AI transformation in companies. Now the challenges there are very unique in terms of, for example, what model to use, how to train, and how to fine tune, and so on. These are inputs that we get from our recent graduates because they are the ones who are hands-on. But then more on the actual innovations and these transitions that we get from our slightly older alumni, and they are the ones who provide us with how the industry is progressing and what are the requirements and what kind of graduates we want so that they can fit into the the AI transformation that most companies are looking into these days. So there's a blend of both senior alumni and also recent alumni who will contribute to our program, so that when we design these concurrently running projects in terms 2 and 3, we plan to leverage on their expertise. So the projects that they will work on will have an immediate impact on the industry, so that when they go out, so they are actually ready to take up a challenge. So in that sense, ours is an institute with let's say 25-year background. So we plan to leverage across the spectrum of our alumni, and that is the
Great. Thank you so much for these lovely answers, both of you professors. I actually read somewhere some time back that an insurance company had once devised an AI tool to actually decode the emotions of the consumers who would call for customer support, because one would of course reach out to an insurance company in times of need as to what is the emotion of that particular customer, so that the executives can then respond better instead of a generic process-based answer.
That's right.
And so this is something I think which things like these are what you will study how to do, and profiles like these are probably you'll work on later. Very exciting and very in demand. So
I just wanted to add something, and this goes back to the alumni discussion that we just had. I was in Bangalore last week for an alumni connect session, and I came across one of our senior alumni who actually has come out with a very interesting product which is entirely AI based. And the product has a lot of impact for students, I would say. He's actually designed an application which can be used through the mobile phone, which actually simulates a typical recruiter. You just have to tell the app which is the type of role that you're interested to take up and the target company that you have. And the AI engine then starts pitching questions to you based on the role, your experience, and the expectation that the company would have in terms of evaluating you. Now, I would just say, when we talk about alumni, there's already a lot of people who have been working, and we've had people who are CXO levels. Apparently, that itself can be a career map. This person who has probably been a CXO in some organization has now quit and has actually said that this is a better space for me to work in, and has actually started his own organization.
Absolutely, rightly called a profession of the century. So I'm very sure that once people graduate, they'll get a lot of roles and demand for this. But when does the program start, if you want to talk about
the usual cycle or the academic cycle for TAPMI starts in the month of June. We normally have the month of July where we onboard the first year students. So June is the period when the second years come in after completing their internships. We usually have a gap of 10 days or so, post which the first years come in. So the program would start somewhere by the end of June or the start of July is what we would look at. It would start with the rest of the other programs.
Perfect. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to interviewing those students once they come here, and thank you, all the best.
Thank you.